Carmen Norris.
And I'm Tim Norris, or you could call me GreyElephant, and welcome to a quick review by GreyElephant Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about the expansion to Claustrophobia, Furor Sanquinis. I believe that's how it's pronounced. But it is brought to us by Marabunta and Asmodee Games. This expansion offers you a new creature, Cardicaea, and 6 new scenarios. In each of those scenarios, one player will take the role of Cardicaea, a monstrous squamata, opposed to both humans and demonic forces.
It is important to note that you do need the base set of Claustrophobia in order to play this expansion. Most of the rules are the same, with a few exceptions that we will cover.
Cardicaea can explore just like the humans. However, during combat, Cardicaea can choose to split his attacks between multiple opponents and/or multiple times during his movement. You will set aside as many dice as his combat value in order to keep track of his attacks. Before, during, and/or after his movement, Cardicaea can choose to initiate combat against multiple opponents.
Cardicaea has a board just like the demon player. During his instinct phase, he will roll 4 dice and assign places for them. One restriction is that he can no longer assign actions to a part of his body that has been destroyed.
For each hit Cardicaea suffers, he will place a wound on a space of his choice on his board. Once a section of his body fills up with wounds, he will no longer use any of those spaces to place dice on during the instinct phase. If ever all wound spaces are filled, Cardicaea has been defeated.
Instead of drawing event cards, the demon player will now gain points of deadly destiny. Each scenario will show how these points can be spent. The demon player may not trigger more than 1 event per turn, and each event can only be used once per game.
The demon player will have event tokens that will help him keep track. Whenever he spends the required deadly destiny points, he will flip over the event token showing that that event has taken place and may no longer be chosen for the rest of the game.
There are 3 new rooms to explore. 1. Phosphorescent mushrooms. The defense of any warrior on this tile can never be higher than 3. 2. The Devouring Pit. The tile can hold 5 warriors per side. Roll a die for each warrior on this tile at the beginning of the threat, initiative, and instinct phases. On a result of 4 or greater, that warrior suffers a hit. 3. Sacrificial Altar. The first time a demon player warrior reaches this tile, the demon player flips one of their event tokens face up.
Cardicaea has 7 new special tokens that he can utilize depending on the scenario. Some of these tiles are attached to certain parts of his body. If ever that body part is destroyed, well, that token will be lost as well.
I have got to say I really enjoy this expansion. As the one who usually plays with humans, I really enjoy having this creature that I can play with. And he's one really powerful creature, which is quite a bit different. And then I get to also use the squamata board. Of course, the expansion includes more than just another character. There are more scenarios to play and additional tokens and rooms. But it was easy to learn. We were able to jump right in. So if you're a fan of Claustrophobia like we are, you should definitely try this one out.
Woo! What an expansion! This is really fun! I tell you, I was really surprised when I first started reading the rules. I mean, I thought that he worked for the demons, but then when I realized he was like a one-man army, I thought, okay, I mean, how's this guy gonna hold his own against whole squads of humans or the endless swarm of the demons? And then you start reading his stats and you're like, wow, how are they going to hold their own against him? He seems really powerful. And he is, but he's not unbeatable. You can eventually beat him down. And he suffers from the same penalty that the humans do, in that if you give the demon player too much time, he's going to eventually overwhelm you with just too many numbers, let's just be honest. Now, the other thing that I think is cool is that his board, the way that that's devised, it feels like you're kind of more in control of him. You're not just assigning dice to actions. You actually feel like you're assigning, to parts of his body, his arms. He's swinging them around, his head, he's thinking, his legs, he's running. And at the same time, as you're taking wounds, well, those things could be taken away from you, much like the human player. Once they take too many wounds, you can't assign dice to them. That's why I think he's a neat balance between both demon and human. He's a neat little in-between and a neat little mesh between the two of them. My only issue with this expansion, well, I got 2 issues with this expansion. Number 1, I never get to be Cardicaea because he's awesome and my wife always wants to run around and be him. So I'm always stuck being demons or humans because she always wins that battle. So that's a problem. Number 2, now that I have Claustrophobia and I have this expansion, I realize that there's one expansion I'm missing, and that's the De Profundis, and I need that now. So now I gotta spend money and get another expansion because I love this game an awful lot. Now I gotta have it all, man, just like Pokemon. So yeah, I really highly recommend this game. But just as usual, you don't have to take my word for it. We do live plays, so you can go check that out, and you can make up your own mind. And as usual, appreciate you watching. Bye-bye.